Hey everyone. Well, I want to share with you a story from when I was growing up skiing with the Hamner family and what it taught me about leaning in to challenges and problems and issues that are inevitably going to rise in business. So it was my very first time to go skiing. I went when there was probably 20 of the Hamner family. Went to Salt Lake City. I know we skied Alta, Solitude, some other places out that way. So if you're a skier, I'm sure you're probably familiar with that. Well, the very first time that I skied, I didn't know what I was doing, so they put me in ski school, and I was kind of frustrated by that. But by the end of ski school, I was able to get on some easy greens. And to give you perspective, I think this is like 1996, so I'm about 14, 15 at the time, so 95, 96 era. And I was able to ski some greens and some light blues enough on that first day, maybe that first afternoon at the end of the day for a couple hours. So the next morning, I just get on the lift. Everybody goes to the next lift, and they go to the next lift. And before I know it, we're basically at the top of the mountain. I don't recall which one this is. I don't know if it was Alto or Solitude, but it was one of the two. And we go to the very top, and they say, "Bradley, what are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I mean, I was just following you guys." And they said, "Well, this is all blacks up here. These are all black slopes." And I was like, "Well, I mean, what am I going to do?" Now, that morning, it was very icy. So I basically went down on the first slope on my backside. And they decide as a group, hey, it's a little too icy for us to be up here today. We're going to wait till this afternoon. And so they take, I don't know what it's called. Somebody listening to this that's a skier would know. But, they take basically a path to get from one area to the other. So instead of going down the slopes, going down the lift, we end up kind of taking a path. And so this path was, not steep, relatively speaking. But this is my second day skiing, and certainly my first time to ever really be on kind of an icy slope in the morning. And so as I'm going through, I start passing people. Well, I start getting nervous, and I hear some people in the back telling me, "Hey, Bradley, you need to slow down. You need to slow down." And up ahead, I could see where it would begin to turn. If I didn't turn, I would kind of go off I don't know what I would go off of, but kind of go off this mountain area, and there were some trees over there. And instead of thinking back on my training that I had the day before, what do you think I did? Well, I kind of panicked a little bit. Look, I'm 14 or 15 at the time, and I had grown up skiing, not a ton at all, maybe just a handful of times, slalom skiing on the water. What's very different than skiing in the snow? You lean backwards. Well, in this, you do the exact opposite. You lean in, you lean forwards. And so what did I do? I start getting nervous. I start leaning backwards. As soon as I do, my ski catches an edge, throws me forward. I have a bloody nose, bloody face. So my lip was busted. And my Uncle George comes over to me, and just classic Hamner family, the way that they would handle things. He said, "Well, we're going to call the ski patrol in. They're going to take you down. Probably just need to ski some greens the rest of the day. You'll be fine, but we're going to go ahead and keep on skiing." And indeed, that's exactly what they did. Now, look, that seems like cruel and unusual punishment. Probably wouldn't do that today. But back then, hey, that's just how they handled it. And, I was fine from it. Well, it took me a little bit to kind of get my confidence, and that whole day I ended up skiing greens, and I kind of built my confidence back and was able to, for the rest of the trip, be able to, for the most part, ski some blues on my first time skiing. So what that really taught me, and really is more of an analogy, is whenever I see either myself, but also some people where they're challenged around finances, their team, etc. The first tendency is not to lean into it. Now I'm going to talk about what does lean in actually mean, but they don't lean into it. It's easy to kind of lean back. And when we lean back, we kind of want to bury. We want to forget about it. We just don't want to deal with it. Just not today. Not today. I'll deal with that next week. I've got accountant thing. I got to deal with some taxes thing. I've got a culture problem within my team. I got a team member issue. I just don't want to deal with it. I don't want to deal with that customer today. The first thing we just tend to not think to lean into it but we tend to lean back. And so oftentimes, whenever I've kind of leaned back in things, it's done exactly what it did when I was skiing. It would eventually, I catch an edge, it throws me face first into the snow, and then I end up regretting that I wish I had dealt with that or leaned into it much, much earlier. So I think leaning in for us looks like a few things. Number one, it can just be eat that frog. Just deal with that thing that I've got to deal with. Deal with that email. It's handling instead of it just sitting there. EAA has maybe put it in the right folder. EAA has prompted me on it. Just let's get it done, right? There's sometimes that we just need to eat that frog. There's some other times that maybe the issue is pretty large. Maybe we need to go and do some thinking time. Maybe we need to, like, you know what, I don't want to make an emotional decision here on this thing. I need to get away. I need to go to the Starbucks and, have my day where I just need to spend some time thinking about it. Maybe we've done that. So maybe leaning in to it is maybe pick up the phone and calling your mentor, your coach, or one of your peers, and just being able to say, oh, I'm struggling with this in this particular area. Will you help me? And as entrepreneurs, I think all of us struggle with that question, is to be able to get to a place of saying, I don't know what to do here, but somebody else might be able to help me. Will you help me? And so the name of this podcast is to lean in. Now, hopefully it's just a reminder for me, but also a reminder for you, is that when challenging times come, and they will come inevitably no matter what, is the first inclination is to lean back. But maybe sometimes the best thing to do is for us to consciously, proactively lean in. Hope this helped. All right, until next time, lead well and go be great.